So we are up to session 6 of this Eberron out of time game. Who would like to try to summarize session 5?
Spread
Or
in all different directions.
yeah, your particular portions of session 5, perhaps.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
we almost got hit by a lightning rail. I think some of us did get hit by a lightning rail.
Lee got buffeted around by the lightning rail.
Yeah, that was not an almost for me. My character did not know that that's what it was, and I did not know what it was. So
I think Elzen, I don't remember if Elzen got hit, but I was hoping that it would just go over his head.
Right. You didn't get hit. You managed to avoid it, but Elzin was sort of in the vicinity and could have gotten hit. Whereas Pebble and Pyelius both realized they should back up.
well, Pebble saw people and the carnival and was like, friends, and ran over to find the new friends that he was about to meet.
Right. And Pyelius understood that when a pyramid next to you starts to glow, you should
Yeah,
back
yeah,
up.
yeah. Yeah, didn't a whole line of them starting to glow? Nah, I didn't want to be near that.
So we continued to the circus. Met a got or there was the ticketer person working the booth or the goblin working the booth. We purchased tickets from them. They gave us a set of wings that they suggested that we wear, although we weren't. It sounded optional at first, but then Elzen, well, Pebble put it on right away.
Pebble got double wings.
Elzen wasn't going to put it on, and then he was informed that if you don't, then there are like security essentially that roams the circus and looks for people who don't have wings, and they'll kick them out. So he put them on. And then we all split up.
Pyelius gave his wings away.
That's why the penguin has two.
Right.
By the way, I imagine anytime the penguin runs off, I hear a kazoo. I don't know why, but like just a kazoo go woo. I don't know if you're proficient in any musical instrument, but it should be a kazoo.
Kazoo.
I don't even think you can be proficient with a kazoo.
It's just a play or don't play sort of thing.
A failed proficiency check is the kazoo falls out of your mouth.
You accidentally go, oh shit! It's like launches at somebody. Oh, sorry about that.
Right.
Paelia, Shebop, and Elzen went north, and we met a displacer beast who was watching over lost children. I think one of them got lost, or they ran away, and we returned them.
Right. Elzin did that.
Yeah. Paelius spoke with Mr. Wolf, um, who was also a time traveler, but for a different group. And we ended up meeting up together with Shebop at the mess hall or the food court, and there was a pie eating contest or a tart eating contest.
Right.
Uh,
It was custard filled fairy cakes that you were downing.
and Elza or Pebble went into the giant bubble. There was this contraption in the center of the circus that would put people in bubbles, and then they would like float down. And as soon as Pebble saw somebody float down in a bubble, and they pointed him which way it was, he ran off.
The kazoo sounded.
Yeah. Jumping over people's heads to get to the front of the line.
It's like that Horn of Gondor scene, the kazoo of Pebble.
went up to the see the performance of Palasha at the was the Singing Mermaid,
Right.
the north west corner of the circus. She got booed, and she got booed out, and she canceled the show because she was being heckled. And then she realized that it was the several jeers was actually just a single person, and she was able to single them out. And that person then mimicked Mbop's voice and got away.
Yeah, she let the person go, but when it as it was leaving, it started mimicking her voice.
And
She also noticed that it was like an avian formed creature because she got an at 20. So even though it was using disguise self, I let her see that much.
hmm, Lee went to
And
the
I and
snail.
I didn't say it, but I should have had her roll something. I didn't think about it. She probably would, as Tony guessed, realize that it's probably a Kenku.
Hmm.
So for purposes of this session, we'll assume she told everybody about that in case it comes up again.
In case it comes up again. So, Uh, Lee went to the snail races to gamble on snails
And
and,
eat snails.
and eat snails. He won. He won two glittered fairy cakes. And yeah, there is more, but that's the kind of that's the bulk that I remember. Are
So
you
the
still
other the
going?
other thing that should be added is that you learned that Shebop herself is missing, and the circus is currently being run by someone named Cadfile and Cadfay, who were at one time like assistants to her in running the circus. Nobody you spoke to seemed to know exactly what happened to Shebop, just that she was visited by three hags. Mr. Wolf said he would guess that the hags maybe wanted to acquire the circus, though he didn't really go into why. Uh, and that the morning after she met with these three hags, that's when she vanished. Nobody knows exactly where she went. The carousel horses who animated, Shebop managed to animate after solving a puzzle, said that the three hags disappeared going into the Hall of Illusions, but they also didn't know what happened to Shebop. Shebop, nobody saw her go into the Hall of Illusions, so uh, they didn't say where she would have been, or nobody even said where she met with the three hags. But that's where the hags went, and then they never saw the hags come out again.
Also is mentioned that this is in this space, people can't really escape, um, and that time moves differently in this
Right,
space than
right. It
outside of it.
was it was said that the Cadfile and Cadface suspended time somehow within the circus, and it was suggested it was in order to keep the circus and the people here safe. Also, the three hags have what Mr. Wolf described as thieves moving through the crowds, and one of them at one point singled out Paelius, and only Paelius apparently could see the thief. Even Mr. Wolf didn't see the thief.
Yeah, was the thief called Sow Pig?
That's what Mr. Wolf had called her because she's a little gray-skinned, undead-looking creature wearing a pig mask and otherwise looks to be like a little girl.
Are we still with the horses and can ask them questions?
Yes.
I would ask, Since the hags came here, has there been any additions to your circus?
No, not that I'm aware of.
No new installations?
Sometimes performers come and go, but since then, I haven't seen any new performers. They might not stop to introduce themselves all the time, though. Most of the new performers would be in the big top if there were new performers.
Mm.
The tattoo artist is new. He came around the same time as the hags.
Where's the tattoo place again?
It's not marked on the map.
Oh,
His name's Tinneman. He works in the small stalls with the games.
Tinnaman?
Yes.
Is there a
Okay.
storm on the horizon?
Yes, there has been a storm that's been picking up since you've been here.
Okay.
And in general, in fact, as the storm has gotten worse, you've noticed that the crowd is getting a little more impatient and surly. It was a bit more jovial when you first got here, but perhaps people are afraid they're going to have their night ruined.
Your storm's very bad around here.
Not usually. Sometimes it rains.
Looks like a little more than rain. Is there, would we go into the big top for, to avoid getting wet?
You could. There are plenty of places you could go to avoid getting rained on. But the big top has probably the largest seating area that's covered.
Little Pebble,
Yes.
I need you to always be within 30 feet of me.
Okay. Bye. How far is 30 feet? Is that a lot of feet? Is that a little piece of feet?
It's
I mean,
not a
it sounds
lot.
like a lot. 30 is a big number.
Just stay close. Don't go
I
too
can
far.
do that. I'll stay
I-
so close to you. And he hugs you
Oh,
on
no,
your
no, no,
leg.
no. That's not what I mean. I just mean that at a moment's notice, I might need to grab those uh, wings from you again.
You just want them? I'm happy to share with my friend,
No,
Haley.
no, no, that's all right. That's not my name.
Are you sure? I think Bailey has a ring to it.
I won't answer to it.
Oh, okay. Haley, yes.
As long as you try.
It sounds fun, but I'll do it because you asked me to. And that's what friends do.
That is good to know.
We did not check out the staff area, correct?
No, nobody's been. I mean, Pebble would have seen it when he was flying, but it's essentially sort of there's a wall of or a thicket around it. So it's not easily visible other than from the air.
Uh, Elzen turns to one of the horses. Do you think we could get into the staff area?
You're not staff.
Is there credentials? Is there a some marking, a shirt that says staff on it that we can use to get in?
Anybody who's staff can get in.
How do how does one know they are staff?
You would have to talk probably to Cadfile or Cadfay and get hired.
I think it's
Otherwise,
just small enough operation. They know each other.
If we were going to go talk to Catfile and Catfay, where would that be?
usually you can find Cadfay in the big top. At least
Hey,
if there's a show ongoing, which there will be pretty soon.
Do you know what is playing?
I'm not sure what acts have been scheduled to run tonight, but there's usually three separate acts at any one time. I'm sure if you went to the big top, I don't know if Cadfay would be there now, but there's usually one or two acts that are always going.
Elzen turns to the group. If a Shiba was seen in the staff area, then it might be our next best lead to see what might have happened to her.
So as you have this conversation, Lee, you are walking north towards the lake area so that you could see the giant geese. As you're
Yes.
going, you see well, first you see as you're passing relatively nearby the Calliope music is getting louder. And you see a monkey operating the Calliope along with a goblin dressed up as a ladybug, both of which are wearing the fairy wings. Uh, and the monkey stops operating the Calliope, and you watch as the little hand crank continues to turn on its own. Monkey comes running up to you, shaking a little tin cup that seems to have a few coins in it. And the monkey speaks, and you notice that when he gets close, he's wearing a vest that is completely covered in buttons, like shirt buttons. And the monkey says, "Spare a button, if you please. I'll sew it next to all of these. I offer nothing in its place except the smile upon my face." And he shakes the cup again.
I was like, look, who has a button?
I mean, it's up to you whether or not your clothes have any buttons.
I mean, we have to find one for him. It's going to make
That
us
is,
smile on
actually,
his
that
face.
is my lucky charm, is a button. Looks like you got plenty of buttons.
But I collect buttons.
Are there any people around?
So he's at the Calliope. There are always people around milling about. The circus seems relatively crowded, even a bit overcrowded.
At Calliope, you said?
Yes, that's essentially south of where everyone else is at the carousel.
Mm.
Well, I'll ask around. If I see somebody with a button, I'll come back and give one to you.
Thank you, sir. Spare a coin. Slowly, you hear the Calliope music is kind of winding down and slowing since the monkey is now talking to you.
Yeah. How I'll spot him a silver piece.
He looks pretty delighted with that and tips his little monkey hat and runs back to the Calliope and spins it up again. You also can't help but notice there is a barker nearby at a little small stall who yells, uh, "Step right up. We've got many games to play. Ante up and win a prize."
Thanks. Pebble immediately runs over. But then after a little bit of distance, he stops and then he looks at Peleus with like pleading eyes.
Where are you going?
Games, games.
I start walking that direction.
And he
So
starts flipping around like Yoda.
you all see Lee talking to the monkey as the monkey runs back to the calliope. You also see a series of small stalls where there appear to be games with a barker out front of all of them. And he looks at Lee and says, "You, sir, do you want to play a game? You
No.
can get your ticket punched rather than offering up. No? Okay. Have a good time, sir." And then he sees Pebble running up. "You look like someone who likes games. Perhaps a game to test your strength? Perhaps your deductive ability? Perhaps your hand-eye coordination?"
You're muted.
You're muted, Mike.
You're muted, Mike.
I don't know what half those things mean, but the strength one sounds fun, or any of them sound fun. I'm down for anything. Which one would you recommend?
Well, you're a relatively little guy, so maybe not the test of strength, but are you good with your hands?
I'm good at lots of things. Ugh. Oh gosh. Sorry.
So,
One sec.
no problem. He leads you over to one of the stalls where you see there is in the stall there is a large board and also a bar at which you're supposed to stand. And you hear the barker inside the stall yells, "This owl mirage is no mirage. 2 or 3 rings around its horn, and you win a prize." There is a small wooden bunny inside the stall with a horn growing out of its head that seems to periodically teleport around this board. And the barker is holding 3 wooden rings that are about the size of the alicorn's head. "Ah, hello. All you have to do is either ante up a silver piece or let me punch your ticket, and you could throw 3 rings. If you get
Yeah.
2 rings on the horn, you win a prize. If you get 3 rings on the horn, you win 2 prizes."
Oh boy. I'm gonna do a silver piece because I think the other thing needs tickets, and I want to do as many things as I can. So I'm gonna do that. And he hands up a silver piece.
And he hands you 3 rings.
And
So
he
this
looks
is, yeah, the tricky part is that the alicorn keeps moving. Uh, and so you kind of have to time it a little bit to try to both identify where the alicorn is and then throw the rings quickly before it can teleport away. So you have to win the game, you will have to make a series of perception and then agility tests.
okay.
So it is essentially a perception check followed by an initiative check.
Okay. So here's my perception.
So you are unable on your first toss to guess where the Almirage is going to appear. And throw your ring to the wrong place.
I would definitely like to be watching and observing that alicorn myself.
So you
Okay.
you come up as Pebble throws the first ring and see that the alicorn disappears and appears on a different spot in the table.
Wow, this is harder than I thought it would be. Okay, I'm gonna get it this time. I swear I'm gonna get it. Oh boy. Oh boy. There.
So you successfully guess where the alicorn is going to appear. So now roll a dex check.
Athletics or just pure dex?
That's dexterity.
Or acrobatics.
It's dexterity.
Okay.
Can I make a perception check too?
You
Oh my
can you
God.
can make you can make you could certainly make your perception check.
Is it bright out? There's no sunlight?
Yeah, I mean, so all of the stalls are lit, so it is essentially brightly lit, but the sun isn't out now.
I didn't, as a drow, I got to worry about these things.
So, I mean, the whole circus is lit up for people who don't have dark vision. Yeah, you're surprised at where the thing appears, but Pebble isn't. Unfortunately, the ring catches the lip of the horn and circles around it, but then flies off. And the Barker says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That's two rings. You could throw the third ring to test it out and then play again, but I'm afraid you can't win a prize with just one ring."
Yeah, fine. I'm gonna have to keep practicing. I'll play one more time. I'll get it this time for sure. And there.
Once again, you're unable to guess where the alicorn is going to appear.
Okay. Okay.
Hyelius, you do guess where the alicorn is going to appear this time.
Okay.
I, I'm gonna use another silver piece, and then we're gonna try again.
And he hands you another three rings.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. And that one.
You again missed. Thinking it's going to appear in one place, it appears on the exact opposite side of the board. You correctly guessed where it was going to appear.
Okay. I'm gonna get it this time, I swear. And booyah!
You do guess where it's going to appear. And you land the ring firmly around the horn. Oh,
Go!
yeah.
I got one! Yay!
Indeed.
Okay.
And the Barker says, "Congratulations, there's one. One
Okay.
more and you win a prize."
Okay. I got this. I got this. And
You're exactly sure where it's going to be. And so you get advantage on your dexterity check.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
Do?
sorry. That was Pyelius who
Yeah.
rolled the nat 20.
Yeah, that was before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you incorrectly guess where it's going to be. Pyelius, you're 100% sure where it was going to land. And so it appears there, and you're surprised to see Pebble throw the ring in a completely different direction.
aw.
That way.
You've got one more chance.
That was 3.
Was it? I thought
Yeah.
it was 2. Because you landed, he handed you 3 rings, and then you
Yeah,
landed.
I missed the first one.
Oh, okay.
Patty, Alias? Alias?
Yes.
Alias? Can we play again?
I look around. Anybody watching us?
I mean, the Barker who operates the stall is watching.
Obviously.
Nobody, I mean, and there are people around. Nobody's necessarily like paying direct attention to the two of you.
I don't see the sow face girl or whatever.
No, not at the moment. You do see there's a series of acrobatic dwarves that are tossing one another around in a very high arc. And seemingly they are circus hands.
Here I thought nobody tossed a dwarf.
Apparently dwarf acrobats exist.
Play all you want. It's your money.
Yay!
So he gives him a silver piece.
And he gives you 3 more rings.
Okay.
And he's there.
You successfully guess where it's going to be.
Uh,
And you almost get the ring around its horn,
So close.
but it bounces and flies off.
Okay. Okay. I got this time for sure.
Make the next two. No pressure.
There.
You throw the ring once the instant the rabbit appears. And the ring successfully lands around the horn, settling down around the alicorn's head.
I got it. I got it.
Congratulations. You have another ring to throw.
Okay. Okay. I got this. I got this. Come on, Pebble. You got it, Pebble. You got it, Pebble. Oh,
And you think you know where it's going to appear, but you throw the ring a second too early
Uh,
and it hits the table.
the minute it misses, Pebble says, "This is boring. Let's go find another thing to do."
So is Lee continuing on to the Swans? You do see
Oh yeah,
Pebble
yeah.
and
Once I
Hyelius.
saw Pebble head over to that game, I knew they were gonna be there a while. And I head over to the Swans.
So you make your way up to where people are boarding. There's a dock on the lake near where the mermaid was singing before. There is a white swan with an enormous saddle on its back. The saddle appears to be large enough to accommodate uh, four, if depending on their size, maybe four medium people could squeeze into the saddle. You see, there is this is an all white giant goose. You see, there is a goose with a darker head that is sailing away, making his way around the little river, the little stream that surrounds the circus. And there's a ride operator there who sees you come up. That's one punch of your ticket to ride the swans.
Do so I look at the Swans. Do they look sentient? They're not they're not
Uh,
like wooden swans.
no, they appear to be living swans, but make me an insight check.
Oh, this character has got insight right there. I'm very
Uh, y-
insightful about this.
yeah, you think they're probably intelligent. The swan that you're looking at, the large white swan, looks at you perhaps with a little bit of a superior attitude, but there's definitely an intelligence behind its eyes.
Okay. Um, does it look like I'm going to go on to the Swan by myself, or is there going to be three other people with me?
It seems as though people are going on in groups. So you would get on the swan by yourself.
But then you would see Elzen pulling Mbop along. Lee,
Right.
Lee.
Mbop looks at Lee's like, I'm getting on that swan quick before they catch me.
Yes. So I move quickly. Yes, punch the ticket. Let's go, buddy.
You can see Mbop is dozing off
But wait,
as Elzen drags her along as the sleeping sickness hits her again.
Yes.
we can't leave Mbop alone.
Yes, that's why you need to stay with her. I'm going to
So are
try
you
to get the yes, I'm gonna get the ticket punched, and I'm going to try to get the seat closest to the head.
Okay, so you take one of the front seats in the saddle on
Right.
this white
Yeah.
swan, uh, and the guy unhooks the swan from the pier, and the swan doesn't move, and she turns her head to look at you and says, "We should wait for your friends."
No, we shouldn't. Continue. Let's go.
But it's always more interesting to have more people to talk to.
No, not really.
Mom.
And Elzin comes running up. And
Ah,
the ticket
wait.
taker stops you and says, "You'll need to punch your ticket to ride the swan."
Ah, yes, of course. And he produces his ticket.
So
Yeah.
he punches yours and Bob's ticket. And the swan says, "Excellent. I always love having a crowd. My name is Featherine." And she sets off sailing around the outskirts of the circus.
Did
And
she
she
say
says,
that? Is she speaking common?
yes.
Okay.
And the swan asks, "What shall we talk about?" "I know. How can we know that one exists truly?"
Let's
Ah,
talk about why you have a saddle and you are moving people around your sort of a carnival ride.
Because this is a circus and people are here to have fun.
So you're doing this by choice.
Of course, we could just fly away if we didn't want to be here.
Okay.
But that's not entirely interesting conversation. If you don't want to talk about the nature of existence, how about in a world of magic, what truly is time?
is is the passage of it is the passage of from moment to moment. I do not understand your question.
This
Well,
is
what
obviously the perfect ride for Pebble. Why is he not here?
well, it's in part for you to interpret the question, but surely you've thought about what time must be. Why does time flow from moment to moment, from the past into the future, and not from the future into the past?
Well,
Is
who
it merely a perception, or is the future fixed and already existing, its full form out there to be discovered rather than for us to shape?
well, time is just another form of magic. It's another dimension to this world. One that can be traversed mostly forward. Hmm.
So you're
One day.
saying you could take to the air right now and fly away, but you don't want to.
Why would I?
Why wouldn't you?
He is right. This conversation is interesting, Lee.
You trek the same route, I would imagine, every single day. Isn't that kind of monotonous?
That's why we have these conversations about the nature of existence and philosophy.
Ah, well, time is time maybe doesn't have as much meaning as one would think it was, but it is the one dimension or one of the things that everybody can experience and understand. It is something that in would you agree that would be a commonality among all living things?
I would agree that most living things experience time. I'm not certain that all creatures experience time in the way that I do.
And how do you experience time?
I suspect very much as you do. One moment flows into the next, seemingly, though the instant the moment arises, that moment becomes the past, making it difficult to say that the present truly exists if you think about it, because by the time you've had the thought, that moment has already disappeared. So then what is the present? Every next moment is the future. Every prior moment is the past. So what is one moment that you can never truly capture?
Hmm. Well, you are
Sort of going around in this river endlessly to no point is sort of where this conversation is going. And Lee will stand up and fly away.
So you stand up and fly off of the Swan. Where are you flying to?
Let's see.
anywhere.
let's see.
So, so the penguin will be playing games. After I like observed the little one game, I'm just going to be scouting around. So I might see him up in the air.
So yes, you do see. So there are several games in these stalls. There is a game where you're trying to catch a fairy dragon as it darts around. There is a game where you wrestle three goblins in a trench coat. There is a game, you're not sure what the game is, but there appear to be these chicken-like creatures in cages, and people come up and talk to the barker. You're not sure what it is, but you do see one person win a prize there.
Chicken jockeys?
Let's see. So it looks like the staff area is cordoned off.
Is it from the air?
It is not blocked off from the air.
I will land in the staff area.
So as you're flying in, you see there is a large hobgoblin. I'm sorry, a large bugbear, unusually tall, probably about 8 feet, and
Mm,
exceptionally heavily muscled. And he sees you flying in and immediately begins to move in your direction.
okay.
And he walks up to you and says, "This is the staff area, staff
Yeah, I
only,
got my ticket though.
staff only."
Staff.
And
Oh,
you see he reaches out a hand, and the thorny briar around the staff area begins to open up in a little arch. And he starts to direct you to move in that direction. He's not touching you at the moment, not grappling you, but you get the sense that he might.
okay. I mean, it wasn't obvious, but I guess. I mean, you're getting kind of snippy around here.
Well, I'm the
There's no
guard here,
games, no prizes to win.
just the staff quarters.
Okay. And you're the hired muscle?
I'm Burley, head of security for the circus.
Okay. Early. All right. Well, I'll leave. I don't want to cause any trouble. You should mark it
I
from the air. You maybe have something on the ground that says "Do not enter." For
we
those
don't
who
have
us who choose to fly.
we don't have many people who fly in the circus, so it's never really been much of a problem.
Could be.
But
Could
we
be. You never
will,
know.
I will suggest to management that we mark the maps, staff only.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right. I'll take a quick
We
look around as I'm leaving, if I notice anything.
I mean, there are several wagons in here, like covered wagons. Some of them seem to have lights on inside, and you see most of them seem to have little, like chimneys that come out of them. A couple of them seem like they have smoke coming out of the chimneys. It is it's not cold, but it's maybe a little chilly enough that somebody might want the
Okay.
heat on.
All right. Yeah, I'll leave. Won't cause Burley any trouble.
So as you leave, you see the briar closes up behind you and the archway disappears. And meanwhile, Pyelius and Pebble, you hear, "Come on in, folks, and have a staring contest with the Cyclops. If you can outstare the Cyclops, you win a prize."
Real good at staring. Let's go.
You're not likely to win. These are all rigged against you.
Pebble doesn't listen. He's already run off.
So inside, you run inside this small tent. You see at one end of the tent, there is sitting down, Indian style, there is a very large Cyclops that looms over the person who runs the ride. And she says, "It's one punch of your ticket or one silver piece to play. All you have to do is stare at the Cyclops and not blink before he does. What will you do when the Cyclops is staring at you, sir?"
I'm going to get back at him.
And he hands a silver piece.
I mean, there's magic all over this circus. It's definitely the Cyclops seems to be magical, but he is moving at least. And he immediately like cranks his head back and you hear his neck crack. And then he brings his head forward and starts staring at Pebble intently.
And Pebble
And
starts staring back.
so you are in a staring contest. You have to make a constitution check to see if you can outlast a Cyclops. Are you going to maintain concentration on your detect magic?
Yes.
I blink immediately.
So you blink right away, and the Barker says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You can't blink. That's how you win the contest. The
Ah,
Cyclops has beaten you this time.
ah,
Would you would you care to play again?"
Yeah. Okay.
So she collects another silver piece, and the Cyclops again cracks his neck and darts his head forward to begin staring at you. And this time the Cyclops blinks. And the woman, she actually looks pleased that you won. You beat the Cyclops. And so she says, "It looks like you win a prize." Uh, and
A prize.
she pulls out like a stocking cap and she says, "Please reach your hand in here and see what you've won."
Pebble immediately does so
So I need you to
with
a
glee in his
roll,
face.
roll me a D12.
Okay.
I just like mumble. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. A
Ah,
silver
So
piece, I guess.
you reach in and you pull out a little slip of paper. And she's like, "Oh, that's a good one." And the paper has this writing on it, but your character's illiterate.
yeah.
So you
What a
receive
pretty picture.
there is a picture of it on it of like a lion's head, but there's also writing around it.
Well, what did you get?
Yeah, the thing.
And he holds it up for Peleus.
And you see it is a voucher for a free temporary tattoo from Tinamond.
At the prize.
Would you care to play again? What about you, sir? She says, looking at Peleus.
No, thank you. Not my kind of game.
And as you maintain your focus on the detect magic, you determine that the magic coming off of the Cyclops is illusion magic, and you suspect the whole Cyclops is an illusion.
Hmm. Um. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. She can have her grift. I don't care.
I mean, Pebble won, so it's not like she wins
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell Pebble what he won.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you can you read this? You're muted. Muted.
Don't good.
Still muted.
I said, no, it's a leaf with some squiggles and a picture.
Yeah. Well, bring this to that tattoo artist, and he will get you a temporary tattoo, whatever that is.
A temporary tattoo. What does temporary mean?
Doesn't stick around. You have
Oh,
it for a little bit, and then it goes away.
that sounds fun.
Okay.
We should stop by that place when we have a chance.
So Elzin, you continue to sail around the circus. You essentially get to take in the whole of the circus, at least the outer side of it. You sail through the phosphorescent lake where there are giant dragonflies being ridden by individual people that seem to hop from lily pad to lily pad. Occasionally, one of them goes a little far afield and flies off over the circus, but that is usually when they can't effectively control their dragonfly. You see there is a young sapling treant who seems to be directing the dragonflies and helping people get aboard. The treant also has a red squirrel that seems to be living in its branches, running around. And then you sail past the lost property thing again, and once again see the displacer beast. You realize probably all of the circus hands and barkers, everybody seems to be wearing their cloth wings. You occasionally see somebody who's not wearing them, but most people seem to be. Pielius is one of those exceptions. Pielius, you would also notice everybody sees that you're not wearing the wings. Nobody has approached you the way the goblin suggested to tell you to get out or suggested there was a problem with it.
That's
But
fine. I'm still keeping an eye out.
Elzin, you could see the bubble teapot in the distance and people floating out of it. You go past what appears to be a sort of roller coaster like ride in the southeastern part of the circus, where you go on a what looks like a mining cart into a giant replica dragon's mouth and then sail around and out of a mountain on which the giant replica dragon appears to be sitting. The snail races, there's not that much to see because the whole track is essentially sunken into the ground. So all you really see there is the back of the bleachers. And you sail past the big top and around the encircled staff area. You don't see any way in. The briar of thorns around the staff area seems pretty thick. The light occasionally pokes through it, so it's not exactly a solid object. But it would probably take some work to just push your way through the thorns and you get stuck along the way. It's not clear you would take like real damage as opposed to scratches. But if you were in the middle of the thicket, you might take real damage. And you slowly come back into the Silver Song Lake. The whole way you're having this philosophical conversation about the nature of time and whether we're really trapped in time. It's clear that Featherine is enjoying this conversation greatly. Uh, you notice that as you sail around, the storm appears to abate somewhat. Uh, so at least there's that. The weather seems to be getting slightly better.
Okay. Well, this was a great conversation.
Yes, it's always good to have a conversation with a philosophical equal. Usually it's only me and Burley, the head of security. He's quite an intelligent fellow and likes discussing these more esoteric concepts,
Ah,
unlike your friend who flew off.
yeah. He is he is he is not one for philosophy, but he may change his tune.
I hope to meet more people who are as erudite as you are. They're what make the circus truly worth it.
Are there many of those?
You would be surprised, perhaps, at how many people come to the circus looking to have a good time and who understand that the wonders of philosophy are truly fascinating. I suppose there are fewer of those, though, than there used to be.
Is there for any particular reason? It's just popularity of circuses.
I'm not sure. It just seems as though people are more tired than they were previously. There are a lot more people, but everybody seems to be worn out,
Hmm.
like they're not getting enough rest. And that makes it hard to have a strong conversation with them.
Interesting. Do you think
But
that is that are they worn out before they even come here?
Don't know. Sometimes people come and they seem bright as ever. You seem quite well rested and bright. Other people, though, seem as if they're in the torpor that people get when they've been awake too long. It does seem like this day has been going on forever. Even I am not at my best right now. But we all have our jobs to do, and mine is to entertain the people who wish to see the circus.
You're doing a fine job.
I appreciate the compliment. And she sails up to the dock. I hope you enjoyed your tour around the circus, and I hope you and your friends come back. Maybe not your Aarakocra friend, but I hope that we are able to converse again before you leave.
And Elzen casts beast speech upon himself, or speak with animals,
Mhm,
uh, through his Eldritch invocation,
mhm.
and responds, I would like that very much," in native Swan tongue.
So, yeah, she bows her head down and says, "You are quite the charmer. Not many people can speak giant swan. It's one of the rare languages, like giant eagle and giant owl."
An Umbra Hulk.
I have many hobbies, some more erudite than others.
You know, Mbop murmurs in her sleep, like kicking like a dog, like she's having a dream.
We have to, let's see if we can find you something to wake you up and Bob.
You look for the coffee tent.
Yeah, he's gonna look for he'll look for the coffee tent. Which is probably just going back to the feasting area. But Elzen's
I
gonna
mean,
look
right there.
around, see if he can find Lee or anybody.
So you probably wouldn't see Lee here. We'll go back to Lee in a second. Um, you would, so say in the distance, you do see Paelius, and he and Pebble are coming out of one of the tents.
So yeah, he'll start heading towards them.
So Lee, you are now outside the staff area next to the big top. You notice that on the outside of the big top tent, there are a series of animated circus acts that you can see that appear to just be illusions that are being displayed on the canvas of the tent itself. There are dancing bears and acrobats that you notice at the moment. They appear to be slowly moving around the outside of the tent and move off around the curve of it as a new one comes into view.
I will make my way around the big top, headed towards where I last saw Paelius and Pebble.
Let me just send a message
Or
real quick.
down here.
No, you are not that far away from the carousel.
Oh, okay.
You're essentially between the carousel and the calliope.
Got it.
Oh, I sent a message to Elzen. Sorry, where is Lee going? I got
I'm trying to
absorbed sending a
remember
message.
where Pebble and
Right. So that's
Pilot.
where you would have seen them. They're, essentially due east of where you are at the tents around the carousel, north of the calliope.
Okay, so I just kind of peek my head around, look around, see if I spot them. Listen
You
for
s-
Pebble.
you find them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Very loud with the kazoo.
Yeah. Listen for the kazoo noise.
So you all meet up outside the Cyclops tent.
This one fell asleep again, huh?
Yes, she
Yes.
is. She cannot stay awake.
Yeah, Elzin is fireman carrying Bop.
With his -2 strength, so he's really struggling. Despite her being fairly lightweight.
I just like pat you on the back. Hang in
Yeah,
there, buddy.
-2. Maybe 7 strength.
Yes, pat you on the back. You're doing all right.
Lee,
So, what's our next move?
you missed more engaging conversation. Do you wish for me to fill you in on the nature of time?
Put a pin in that right now. Maybe at some other point. Why exactly are we here? What is the point we're trying to figure out?
I think
Well,
we might be stuck.
we were supposed to be near we were supposed to be put near uh, the pit, uh,
Yeah, the Black Pit.
the black pit, and we are not near it.
So we should probably head in that direction as opposed to this.
Right. You came here because it's a circus. Really, there was no other reason. It was just the circus was here.
I just look at Pebble. It's probably, I assume, is probably eating like a turkey leg at this point that he has found.
But
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I didn't get to say there are in addition to the feasting area, the food is essentially free, but there are like food stalls and tents all over the place. But they all require either money or, a punch of the ticket to get something from.
if Shebop is, I am concerned about Shebop. If she is missing, what future consequences does that have to Umbop? What if she
Sorry.
dies?
So if Shebop is missing, I wasn't following what you were saying. If who
If
was,
like if because Shebop is missing, right?
no, you're carrying Shebop.
Carrying Umbop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. I got confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know what happens if Shebop dies.
I I wouldn't feel right if we left Shebop in a precarious situation and it had an adverse impact on Umbop.
How do we know that these bops are related?
They have the same symbol, don't they?
Yeah. So Lee wasn't necessarily, Lee has to determine if he was paying attention, but at one point you could hear through the messaging that Mbop mentioned that the sigil she's wearing is the symbol of House Bop. And you probably could have inferred that Shebop was wearing an identical sigil.
How big is the bop house?
So you knew Mbop in advance of this a little bit. So Mbop would have told you that in this period of history, the Bop House was not huge, but they had people, all over the continent. It was a house like any other house. There were many people in House Bop, along with retainers and other people who served the house. She was not necessarily aware of the fact that there was this particular circus that the family was operating.
So, Elzin, what do you think will happen if we don't find Shebop?
Well, I do not know Umbop's lineage, but if she is a descendant of Shebop directly, then if Shebop were to perish, then wouldn't Umbop disappear?
I don't think we know any of that.
We do not. But could you walk away without answering the question? I keep
All of
trying
that
to ask. I
conversation,
keep trying
all
to
of
ask
that
Umbop.
yeah, all of the conversation about time has just gotten Elzin's mind buzzing with questions.
But what if finding Shebop directly affects Umbop and then Umbop disappears because we found her?
Well, that is a circular argument because then you can argue to do something or not do something. But in one, in the world of not taking action, then we at least are subject to the unknown, or we do not know what we will always be left wondering. What if we went to go find Sheba? What if we found out what happened to her? You should have listened to those swans, or that swan. It's very interesting.
You hear one of the carnival barkers yell, "Come and see the amazing bearded elf. You'll
I
never
grab
see
Pebble
this anywhere
before he can
else."
move. I'm holding on to him.
You're muted again, Mike.
Still muted. Is it your
The dying?
So yeah, Pebble tries to speak and nothing comes out, and Pyelius has the greatest moment of Pyelius's life as Pebble has lost his voice.
Yeah.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah,
now?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I said that's fair because it's exactly what he was going to do. So you catch him.
Yeah, we are here. If we don't interact, maybe she survives, or perhaps we interact, and because we are the ones that saved her to ensure her lineage. Yes. Damned
Such
if you do,
is
damned if you don't.
such is the paradox or the conundrum of time.
We have a goal. Having this person on our side could be useful, even if it is just a circus. Seems like the house is more spread out than this.
She would at least presumably have connections and knowledge of House Bop in the current state. And that's not quite something that Mbop, he glances over at her, would quite know. She would only have historical knowledge, not firsthand.
Okay, so here I don't really know a whole lot about what you guys are talking about, but uh if this Shiba person is in trouble, we should save them because then they might be a friend. And we like friends. Friends are a good thing to have. More friends you have, the more warm you are, and the more joy you have in your heart.
You could have stopped. This was exactly what I was saying.
Well, I just said it better than you.
This is exactly what I was saying. So our contact is in the feasting area. I spoke briefly. Um,
That's true.
but
You
I
did.
think,
You also told Mr. Wolf not to leave, as Mr. Wolf suggested he can leave whenever he wants.
yeah. And it sounds like our this Shebop went into the House of Illusion.
Yeah, nobody said that. The hags went into the House of Illusion.
Oh, that's what it was? Okay, that's right. And then she just disappeared. That's what it was. Somebody went into the house. Um, something tells me that may be where we need to investigate.
Well,
Hey, Elias,
What?
make me a perception check.
Sure. Oh my God. You
So never
fucking
mind.
kidding me.
You don't notice anything.
Everybody's crowding around. I can't see shit.
So as
Nope.
you,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah,
can hear you
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
So as you're standing there, you see the carnival barkers all seem to come out of their tents and begin to tie up the fronts of them, closing the tents off.
What are the people doing?
So people seem to be, some of them seem a little bit confused at first. It's almost like the carnival is closing up. But then you see a large number of people appear to be moving in the direction of the big top.
Um, how well can we see the House of Illusion from here? Probably not very well, huh?
No,
It's pretty far
it is a
away.
little bit, it is a little bit raised up on most of the attractions seem as though they're a little bit raised up over the other things. But the House of Illusion's only basically a one-story tent. It's a very low uh, tent relative to the other things. So from where you are, the tents right in front of you are blocking your view. You can basically see the very top of the big top from where you are. And it has these like little spinning golden things that reflect the light. Actually, yeah, my apologies. Let's take a 5-minute break as I need to figure out something's going on with my dogs.
yeah.
I'll be right
So
back. So you are standing outside these tents. The tents appear to be closing up, and people seem to be, in general, most people seem to be moving in the direction of the big top.
Um, do I feel like I should do this right now?
Uh, yeah, you feel like that's where you should go.
Mhm. I'll can I fly my drone there? Does
Where is
that
your drone?
scratch the itch?
So you definitely can fly your drone there, but you still want to go.
All right, that's fine. I'll go. Let me get this drone there right quick. Can I do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, outside the House of Illusion, you see there is like a small stand about 30 feet outside of it, in which there is what looks like a wooden figure of a probably female sorceress or wizard. There is a clown who's standing outside who looks uh, sad or maybe bored, hard to say. You could make an insight check, maybe. But he is standing well away from both that stand and the entrance to the tent. But he appears to be also wearing fairy wings, it seems pretty clear that he is one of the circus hands, probably the one who directs people into the tent.
Okay. Um,
The
I,
tent itself has these like circular spiral patterns. The whole tent appears to be covered in illusions, designed to sort of fool the eye.
I'll fly it around just to see if I can scope out a separate entrance.
Uh, from what you can tell, there's only the one entrance in the front.
Yeah, but I got knives and stuff.
That's true.
So yeah, I just looked to everybody. I feel compelled, if you will, to visit the House of Illusion.
Alzin's going to inspect Peleus to see if he's under any sort of spell or influence,
You can make an insight check.
given that
Do it
he's
on the move.
also
He looks absolutely normal for him.
Let's go on the move. Come on. Can I incite myself?
Yeah, let's go. Let's see what's
Oh.
over there.
we needed to go there anyway.
Hmm.
And that's where all the
indeed.
people are going.
It is a
No,
lead.
no, not the big top, the House of Illusion.
Oh,
I am not going to the big top.
As long as well, let us go.
House of Illusion sounds fun. By the way, what's an illusion?
It is when there are pictures that aren't really there. They are fake
Not always a picture.
or sound.
Wait. A picture that's fake? So it's like made of how
Aren't all
Pebble is
pictures
trying
fake?
to understand how a picture that is already a fake representation of something else can be fake.
Yep.
When you say picture
Yep.
in his mind, he thinks of the squiggles and the thing on the leaf that he has.
The Cyclops that you had your staring contest with, that was an illusion.
I thought he was a Cyclops.
Not a real one. Just an illusion of one.
So he so
There was no Cyclops.
it's so it's a house of other guys with one eye?
You will find out.
Okay.
Your leaps in logic make zero sense.
But you know what isn't an illusion? This fairy cake I have in my pocket, and I hand it to Pebble.
So
You
you
hand it to
receive
Pebble, you say?
a sparkly fairy cake, possibly slightly crushed, possibly slightly warm.
Yeah.
Oh. He eats it.
Okay. So I guess let me send you a message.
Ah.
Didn't I do some detect magic on those things before?
You did some detect magic in the not on the cakes that Lee has.
I thought there were some over up in the dinner area.
Right,
feasting area.
those were the custard fairy cakes, and they were not
Mm.
magical. These are the sparkly fairy cakes from the snail ride.
Got it.
I mean, you probably still have detect magic up, so you can tell the cake is magical as Pebble devours it.
The cake is a
And,
lie.
and I watch him for any magical effect that springs upon him.
You all see that Pebble begins to sparkle.
That just must make Pebble's day.
First a ride in a bubble, and now getting to sparkle like a bubble.
Oops, I sent it to everybody.
Oh, nice.
Can you eat a bunch of those and like stack those up?
You could certainly try.
I feel like that's where Kurt busts out the magic potion mixing
Yeah.
table.
That way, that might be especially hard on me because some of those results are like the effect becomes permanent. But I should add, you're pretty sure if you use the advantage, you'll stop sparkling. You'll spend the magic.
Oh, then that's never happening.
You did it. You found the one thing he won't use a resource for.
So are you heading to the House of Illusion?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever that is.
So you do see there is a queue now in front of the big top. You all go past. The monkey approaches you and requests a button or a silver piece. And you have to make your way then through the line of people who are waiting to get into the big top. There are now several circus hands outside the big top who are announcing that the main show is about to begin. But you push your way past everyone and continue on.
I would
The
I
house,
would have
you,
tossed the silver piece, by the way.
so the monkey tips his cap to you, his little top hat. Seems a little
I would have
wistful.
done it in passing, like a ding.
He he deftly catches it in his cup and then returns to the calliope and continues to turn the crank. As you get to the House of Illusion, you again see there is a small stand outside of it with this wooden figure of some sort of sorceress. But it's a little way off in the distance. I assume you're not going to the entrance or to the. This thing is about 20 feet outside the entrance. The clown who seems to attend to this tent, he's about 30 feet away, standing adjacent to the opening.
I want to have another look, closer look around the outside, going around back.
So you circle around behind the tent.
Yep.
Followed by
I'll
Elias.
I'll return my drone for now to the box, I guess.
Okay.
Or I guess maybe it'll come with me. I guess it can just stick close to me for now.
I mean, you could hold it so that you don't have to waste an action moving it.
Hmm.
I mean, it more or less
Um,
hovers if you're if it's otherwise flying and you're not doing anything with it. So you could always just drop it. It wouldn't be an action. It wouldn't even be an object interaction to just drop it. It would just hover wherever it was.
Yeah, I can just do that. But yeah, just observing the tent here.
So, as I said, there are illusions covering the fabric of the tent. They tend to be there to try to confuse the eyes. So it's a series, mostly a series of geometric patterns that overlap and interact, and are a little bit dazzling to look at. Nothing that's going to, cause you to get dizzy or anything, but the effect is somewhat dizzying without having a mechanical impact on your character.
Right. Just like twirling spirals sorts of thing.
Right. And
Um,
as you get closer, you see that the illusion has a little bit of a fractal element to it, as there are little spirals coming off of the bigger spirals.
um, I, presumably I detect illusion magic. Any other kind of magic?
No, you only detect illusion magic.
I'll touch the tent.
It appears to be made of cloth. Touching it doesn't seem to have any effect. The illusion continues on uninterrupted. You
I'll
do determine the illusion is essentially hovering just a fraction of an inch above the surface of the tent,
yeah.
but your hand passes through it, doesn't disrupt it or anything.
Do I hear anybody on the other side?
You do not hear anything inside.
Does it look like I could just like pull it up?
You might be able to, so you probably can lift it. The canvas of this tent is incredibly heavy.
Mhm.
So it would be hard to like, you're none of the characters in this party are super strong. It would be hard to sort of like lift it up and just, hold it up. It's not a thin piece of fabric.
Right.
It's exceptionally thick, but you definitely can move it. It seems to, yield like any other piece of fabric. So you presumably could lift it up long enough to crawl under it.
I don't know if it's worth all that. Might just I don't know. Maybe I could just go into the front. It's not like me though.
But it's also not like you to be suddenly just attracted to going into this place.
I know. It didn't tell me how to get here. I got here.
Right. And you want to go inside, but
Okay.
whether or not you want to crawl in, potentially pinned by this heavy fabric, you you don't know.
Nah, I think I go kind of to the corner spot here, and then yeah, I pull out a dagger. I it won't be like super tall, but keep it kind of low, so that I would have to crouch through. But I guess yeah, I would crouch only a little bit. Some others, taller people, would have to crouch a lot more. Yeah, I'm just gonna cut a hole.
I mean, I think only Lee is like the tall one. I think you're the second tallest.
And Bob isn't taller. I'm taller than me.
Uh,
Yeah.
Umbop might be if she was awake and standing up. So you're going to cut the fabric of the tent?
Yeah.
Okay. So you stab the knife in. The tent material is pretty tough. So it is an effort for you to force the knife into and through the fibers of this tent. As you begin to cut the tent, there is an audible pop as all of the illusions vanish from the outside of the tent. and it's now just a regular gray canvas tent.
Oh,
They can fix
But
it.
you force the knife into it, piercing through on the other side. You realize it is going to be a bit of a haul to carve your way down as you have to saw with your dagger. And the fabric of the tent is exceptionally thick, several inches thick.
why are we going in this way?
Instinct.
So make me an athletics check, strength-based athletics check, to see how long it's going to take you to carve your way through the tent.
I mean, we'll see what I roll here. Oh wow.
So you're making pretty good progress, but it takes you a couple of rounds to get all the way, to get a hole big enough that you could step through it.
Perfect.
And
I'll
as you finish up,
peek.
you see the clown who was outside poke his head around the corner of the tent, as he apparently is now circling the tent.
I step inside.
So you disappear through the hole. Everybody can make me a stealth check to see. Paelius, you made it through the hole. Everyone else, make me a stealth
Well,
check.
once Pebble sees the clown, he starts waving.
Good.
So Lee, if you want to, you can disappear through the hole before the clown sees you.
Yes, I will. This clown's freaking me out.
And
And if I
Elzin,
get a chance, I'll grab Pebble.
you also. Well, that would be a whole grapple check.
Well,
You're
okay, so I
certainly free to
imagine
try.
Pe I imagine Pebble sees the clown, waves, and then steps through the hole because he doesn't think that anything is wrong. He trusts Peleus to be making good choices.
So Elzin, you also can disappear through the hole. Only Pebble is definitely going to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, Allison will disappear through the hole and then, be ready to intercede if he needs to.
So Pebble, make me an insight check. So the clown sees you about to go in the hole and goes, and you get the sense he is genuinely concerned for you.
Pebble waddles over to the clown and is like, what's wrong? Uh, uh, are you okay? No? Okay. Your throat hurt? You got a sore throat. Okay. Well, I've heard tea is good for sore throats. I've never had tea because I fear hot liquids.
He nods. But he reaches, he extends a hand out to yours.
Oh, okay. And he takes it.
He walks you over to the hole in the tent, and he looks at you and goes,
Oh, oh, but my friends went in there.
he looks alarmed and then goes like this.
You I don't know what this is.
And he takes your hand and tries to lead you away from the hole.
I'm sorry. I wish I could help you with your sore throat. And it's always nice to meet a new friend, but I gotta follow my friends where they go. So I'll see you later. Bye bye.
He is going to try to grapple you to prevent you going through that hole.
Um,
So he has to use athletics, but you could use athletics or acrobatics.
Okay.
Wow.
So you are able to wiggle your way out of his grasp as he is trying to prevent you from going into the tent.
I
I'm,
like hugs too, but I gotta go with my friends. I'm sorry. Bye bye.
I just
You,
imagine he stood perfectly still. He grabbed you to like hold you, and you just like slipped out.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I have ice on my chest permanently, so probably yeah.
so you know, pop up and over his arms and then slide your way through the hole. All of you see the face of this clown who looks a little horrified, even terrified, staring at you through the hole.
Who was
Well,
that?
once we're through the hole, we'll start, Elzin's gonna look around and kind of get a sense of the bearings.
Yeah,
Guys,
inside you
I
see,
met a new friend. He had a sore throat, so he couldn't talk to me. Yeah, I don't know if he wanted me to go in here, but I said he could come with, but he didn't come.
yeah, so the clown is still looking through the hole at this point, and you see he is going like this to all of you. In front of you, all around you, you see there are enormous mirrors, like walls of mirrors, and what looks like paths that run between them. It appears to be a maze of mirrors.
I see so many pebbles.
I say,
So,
I I look out at the clown. I say, "It's okay. I was summoned."
That makes him look more alarmed, and he keeps making this motion.
Not if we are first.
He goes like this.
Phileas, do you know who summoned you? What is this strange madness that has come over you? Do you need do you need to go back to the food hall?
Nope, needed to be here. Now I am.
Well, we are in the tent. Are you satisfied? Is your curiosity slaked?
This is where the hags went to. There's got to be something interesting.
I don't see any illusions.
I think that's the point.
I don't get it.
He legitimately thought about it for a while.
The clown is still crouching in front of this hole. The clown, by the way, is human, so a little bit bigger than most of you, so does have to crouch a bit to look through the hole. But he appears to look down at his giant clown shoes and shakes his head.
Yeah, I'm ignoring him. I'm observing the area, trying to determine where might be the best place to go.
So
Making sure
there
to look
are
up too.
right. The mirrors themselves are about 13 feet tall and seem to otherwise there are several entrances. It's not clear. Some of them seem to only go a couple feet before you'd hit another mirror. it seems obvious that if you go in, the mirrors themselves will be disorienting.
Mhm.
The interior, by the way, of this tent is not well lit. Unlike most other places, this nobody seems to have turned on whatever lights are here.
It's fine for me.
A lot of you can't see in the dark, though, so you will quickly be blind once you move away from this hole in the tent. That's true. I
I
guess I guess if you're since you're relying on dark vision, Paelius, you know there are walls. You probably can't see that they're mirrors, since I don't think you can see reflections.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But the
I also
people
have
not
dark
seeing,
vision.
right? The people not seeing with dark vision, you can vaguely notice your reflections in the mirrors.
Take out my ever burning torch.
You do notice now that the reflections in the mirrors that you can see are noticeably shorter than the rest of you. So everybody now can see normally since the torch is out. Uh, all of them look like, and you can all describe for yourselves what this looks like exactly. But what you see in front of you are reflections of you as children. So everybody go around and describe what you look like as children. Elzin notices that he's carrying a short little girl with blonde hair who appears to be sleeping peacefully and is in a fairly uh, ornate looking dress, almost like she's dressed up like a princess.
Well, Pebble looks to be maybe uh 10, maybe 12 inches tall. And he is really, really fuzzy with and his whole body is like gray, except for his head that has the patches of black and white. I don't think Pebble would recognize his reflection as his own if he's looking at a younger version. I think
That's
he
fair
would
for
think that
Pebble, especially.
I think that he thinks that oh, there's some babies around. Oh, he's cute. And he goes and tries to hug them.
He wouldn't
You
have ever
just
seen a reflection of himself.
Well, yeah, but
even if he did, he's Pebble. All Pengles look alike to him.
Yeah, Elzen's childhood uh form is carrying this little girl, and he is wearing kind of simple clothes. He's looks like he's been working in the fields. Um and uh so the kind of dirt smudged face. His hair is like very springy. Like his currently his hair is kind of loosely curled, and these curls are much tighter.
Like a
When
Bob Ross fro.
like a Bob Ross pro, got a magic perm,
What does
but
Lee
he
look?
looks
Oh, God.
tired. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing you take away is not just his clothes, but like he just looks tired.
So
What is?
the
Go ahead.
the reflections are like full on illusion where like they're changing our clothes and stuff too.
Yes.
Got it.
Or what does Lee look like as a child?
Um,
Or a baby. The age is up to you sort of too. But it's a younger version of you.
so you can see that he's got patches where the feathers haven't grown in, and it's instead of his gray white feathers, it's sort of like a dull gray color, and his beak looks way too big for his head. And he is dressed in like a one piece, like that looks like a tuxedo.
It's a one-piece tuxedo.
Yeah, it's like a one, there's no pant or shirt, it's just a one, yeah.
Okay. But so my question is it like really like a tuxedo? Is it like a t-shirt with like a tuxedo
Yes,
design on
yes.
it? I see.
Yes,
A
it's a
romper.
tuxedo.
It's a romper.
There we go.
And what about
I mean,
Pyelius?
that wasn't that long ago. I mean, Lee's only 7 years old.
Middle-aged for an Aarakocra.
Right.
Um, I guess a young Pyelius would be in y- for as long as you've known Pyelius, he's always really kept up his appearance as much as possible. But the kid version of him probably has some kind of scraggly clothes. But he also probably has like a knife on his like tucked away somewhere. Like, but it's obvious that he has it, trying to look tough.
And how old would you say you were in the image?
Well, so what are the lifespans of Drow in this setting?
Uh, I mean, I assume it's about 350 years.
Okay, and adulthood is reached at around.
Around 100.
Um, then he's probably like just under 50. But yeah, adolescent, like early, pretty early. Yeah.
What about Elzen? Adolescent as well.
Yeah, he'd be like in his tweens.
So this is what you see. And as you sort of look into the other mirrors that are around you, uh, you notice pretty much the same image, maybe a little younger, a little older, but all childhood images. As you move around, you can find like younger versions of yourself. Like at some point, you come across a thing where both Lee and Pebble don't appear to be there anymore. You just see two eggs wobbling, rolling around as they move.
Yeah,
I,
it's cute.
I just like I looked at them. I'm like, I don't believe he is fully sapient. He can't even recognize his own reflection.
The clown gives up, closes the flap. You see there is a
Pebble
flash of
waves.
you see there is a flash of light as something is going on outside, and you slowly see almost like he's welding it back together. Magic is moving slowly down the length of this cut, this tear in the fabric.
I go,
And he tries to grab you to pull you out.
oh,
You slap his hand and he lets go.
I,
You see that he's holding a wand that he's using to mend the tent.
wait, wait. We'll come out and we'll find you and let you know when you can do it again. Go on, go on. Shoot.
He walks away.
Gotta have an exit.
What happens when Pebble tries to hug one of the younger Pebbles?
You touch the mirror, like you basically hit the surface of the mirror. The other pebble is also coming up to you to hug you. Though that image may be much shorter than you, so it's not necessarily that your hands meet. But both of you seem stopped by the surface of the mirror.
Hey, what's going on? Is this like a clear ice? It's not that cold though.
It is more like a rock. It's more like a rock.
Well,
Ice.
it makes me sad that I can't hug all these younglings. But where are we gonna go now? Are we done in here? Are we gonna go back outside? Or is there other things we gotta do in here?
Do the mirrors go all the way to the top?
Uh, Around where you are, they go most of the way to the top. You imagine, and it's hard to see over the mirrors from where you are because they're only a couple feet from you. But you imagine in the center of the tent, where from the outside it's peaked, they either the mirrors get significantly taller or they don't go to the top further into the tent. But there's about a
Hmm.
foot of space between the top of the mirror and the top of the tent where you are.
Well, um, let me go have a look. I sent it like that, but I'm gonna cast levitate on myself.
You levitate up. You do see that the maze of mirrors, it doesn't go to the top of the tent at any point, but the mirrors do seem to get taller and taller as it goes into the middle. So
Okay.
it's almost like you're looking at like a cone of mirrored surfaces from where you are.
And I suppose I can't glean any point of interest to try and aim for from up here.
All you see is the tops of mirrors, or you presume to be mirrors because you'd be relying on your dark vision again. But it all
Right.
appears to be more or less uniform. Still, you might
Uh,
be able to use this method to like discern your way through the maze of mirrors.
right. So, I mean, can I like touch the top of the mirrors and
Yes, you could
yeah,
crawl your way along by grabbing the mirrors.
it's an option. Well, I'll come back down for now. This lasts for 10 minutes at least.
Right.
Um, well, it's just a maze of mirrors, but there's got to be something here.
Are you still feeling this pull?
I
I
don't know.
mean, yeah, you don't, so I'll say, just say outwardly, you no longer feel a compulsion now that you're inside the House of Illusion. Uh,
Okay,
but you don't notice that there was any magical effect.
right. I don't. What do you mean? I knew we had to be here, so we're here.
Now what?
Now we explore. It's got to be something here.
All right. Well, Pebble then just starts walking off.
Carefully, quietly.
So are you entering the maze or
I mean, can we walk around it?
you can walk around it? There
Okay,
appears to be a little bit of room between, like a couple feet between the maze of mirrors and the end of the tent. And that does appear to stretch off.
let's.
Pebble has walked into the maze.
Pebble, come here. Remember what I said?
What? Wait.
I
Wait.
said stick close.
Are all of the images, the reflections, younger versions of us?
Yes, that's what you're seeing
Okay.
at the moment.
Well, it becomes very easy for him to figure out which one.
But you said we gotta explore. So I started exploring.
Kind of want to go around the edge a little bit.
Oh, that seems not as fun.
You're right. Let's go inside the maze.
Okay.
So you enter the maze. I assume everyone's going.
Yeah.
So everybody make me a perception check. So Elzen and Lee, you notice as you begin to make your way through this maze, it becomes increasingly difficult to simply backtrack to where you were. So finding your way out again might be an issue, as it will take a little bit of work to, because, there's very few sort of landmark objects for you to use to try to find a path out of here. You also both notice that the deeper you move, the images in the mirrors appear to be getting slightly older, getting back to your actual current ages. So that like Lee no longer sees any versions of himself where he's still in the egg.
Oh, that was those are me. Those are me, guys.
Yes.
But but it's different.
It's an illusion.
I I don't look like a big guy with one eye.
Keep thinking about it. Let's go.
I don't understand what illusions are. You know what? That's something you made up. I don't believe. That's a fake one. You're just trying to trick me.
So Elzen, make me a wisdom save.
Fail this one. Actually, no.
So for a second, you find you're on a different side of the mirrors than everyone else. Although you can still see reflections of them where you are, you realize you have to back up a bit and go a different route to actually be with them all again.
Okay. So he does that and he'll say, I believe these mirrors are magical. They try to trap you. I fortunately was able to remember to come to the rescue of my friends.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Should we tie each other to some rope so we're all connected?
I'll be at the back.
That might not be a bad idea, but
I got some rope.
And Pebble pulls it out, showing off his coil of rope.
Perfect.
So how are you fixing this rope to everybody? And what's the marching order once you're roped up?
I want to be in the back.
Well, that means that Pebble has to be the third one because he needs to be by Peleus.
Guess the Elzen. I mean, Elzen's not really a frontline kind of guy, so he would choose second.
All right, I'll go in front. I've got the torch, the ever burning torch.
So Lee, you can, since you're in the lead, make me a survival. You can make me a survival or investigation check.
Let's go with survival. We're not surviving too well.
So Pyelius, make me a wisdom save.
God damn. Um, is this versus a charming effect?
This is not. For a second, you start to walk forward following the rope, and you find that the rope is passing through a mirror. But you sidestep that mirror, discover you're not tied to anybody anymore. Everyone else, you find you're now tied to a mirror that is not moving. And Pyelius is attached to a part of a rope, but it appears to have been cut off.
Hmm.
You are still tied to an image of Pyelius.
Hey, now there's two paellas. Paella, pay out, pay out,
had it.
paella.
You had it the first time.
So
Uh,
does the mirror move, or is it,
No.
or do we like stop because it was stuck to it was tied to the mirror?
Right. If there was any slack in the rope, you can, pull it to the edge of the slack, but otherwise the mirror seems to be fixed in place. And for some reason, the rope is now passing into the mirror and is tied to an illusion of Pyelius on the other side of the mirror.
I look at the illusion of Pyelius in the mirror and say, "What's taking so long? Let's go. Quit slacking."
I just like come up behind the group. I don't know how to deal with this right now.
I take out my Morning Star. I have an idea how to deal with this.
There's certainly a way of dealing with it, but we must be careful. These are very tall.
Elzen's just gonna brace himself to have glass, like shattered glass fall on him.
Pebble has no idea what's going on.
So is Lee going to bash the mirror?
No. I pull on the rope. Is it still?
It's attached to the mirror somehow. It looks continuous. It looks like it goes from Pebble back into Elzen, but that is clearly just a reflection of Elzen.
Okay. And when
I'm gonna
I
go.
pull on it, it seems so I try to reach through the mirror to grab the rest of the rope.
Right. And your hand hits the surface of the mirror and doesn't go any further.
Pull out the dagger
Uh,
again.
Right. You can cut the rope.
Cut Pebble's rope.
And then I'll tie on the end of it that I'm still attached to. How much of the rope did I like? Did I have the exact what it had? So like tying this knot means it's slightly shorter.
Yes.
All right.
So you're cutting the rope?
I would. I mean, unless Lee had a
I
thing
mean,
to
if
do
you're
it.
going to cut it, I'm not stopping you.
Yeah.
So you cut the rope, and you're able to tie it on to the end that remains.
What happens in the illusion?
In the illusion, you see, so like when your rope was severed, the section of rope you had fell, essentially just dangling in front of you. As you cut the real rope that moves into the illusion, you see the end of rope it has begins to dangle under its belt.
Okay.
And a small little rump section of rope falls to the floor. So you proceed deeper into the maze. At this point, you notice that the illusions of you are all approximately the same age as you. Sometimes they're wearing different clothes, assuming you had separate sets of clothes in your normal lives and didn't all wear the same thing every time, cartoon style. They do appear to change clothing from time to time, but they appear to be all approximately your age. And Lee, make me another survival check.
Eh,
So Pebble, make me a wisdom save. So you also find yourself sort of trapped behind a mirror, separated from everybody, and Pyelius is tied behind you. But once again, you're able to find your way back to the group, and the group appears to be tied now to an illusion of Pebble and Pyelius.
Okay. Uh, yeah, I don't know why it keeps happening. It's really weird, but I don't think the ropes are really helping, if anything. 'Cause now the ropes are all, I mean, just less rope, and now it's all cut up.
The
if
ropes
you
just
think of
get
it that
smaller.
way, Pebble, you actually have more rope.
Well, we have. Oh.
It is true. If you cut a rope in half, you have two ropes.
Wow.
I believe the ropes are useful in letting us know whenever someone was nearly caught in a illusion.
Yes.
What? Wait, what do you mean? These are like warm ice, warm blocks of ice. They just see through, but also they reflect, so it just kind of like the surface of water. So it's I don't know.
It's very magical and it's very dangerous.
I wonder why it did not catch me.
Are you feeling left out?
No, but when I first saw the mirror, I felt pulled to the other side and came back. Yet I do not see a residue.
Why does this keep happening?
Well, well, Pebble, it seems somebody has tricked Peleus here, and he has brought us into this fool's errand. And we are going to see it through because that is what the good friends do.
You know what else good friends do, and I think would be really good in this situation?
Smack others.
Hold hands. Why use rope when we can just hold hands?
I hate to agree, but it might be a good choice.
immediately Pebble goes to hold Peleus's hand.
We haven't determined an order yet. It's like looking around.
What do you mean? Or we just walk side by side, all together.
I don't think there's enough room for that. One single file.
But just less fun.
I,
It when you got your one hand in front and one hand in back, it's harder to skip, which is a necessary component when you hold hands with friends.
disagree, but we don't have the room
We
to
will not
walk like that.
we will not be able to skip in here.
We are limited by the space we are within.
Well, how wide is the walkway?
It's about 5 feet between the mirrors.
Oh.
Like you technically could squeeze two people to a 5 foot space and be side by side with one other person.
And Elias isn't doing that.
I mean, there'd be plenty of room for like Elzen and Pebble to walk side by side.
Yeah. Yeah, like you two. Perfect
Right.
size.
I
You
guess
can
I
do
guess if Elzen is still carrying Mbop, that might be a little more awkward.
A little bit.
it. Their shoes have come off ages ago.
He's struggling carrying her.
Yeah, it's one of those times where I like pat you on the back. You're doing good.
Maybe Mbop falls asleep and she just is left wherever she goes, and then magically, like whenever she just wakes up, she just happens to be right there. And none of us know how it happens.
Sleepwalking.
Could be.
Maybe.
But for right now, Elzen is carrying her.
Yeah.
She's like that body Zarius had.
Except Zarius carried that body. He knew it was his choice. He's going to be carrying it.
Right. Well,
His
Elzen's
dude.
carrying Mbop.
You need to protect her.
Absolutely.
You just don't know what if Shebop is missing, it could spell trouble for Mbop. She could be next.
Then I say we figure out what these hags have done to this place. It's a clear correlation.
So everybody can make me a perception check.
Oh, nice.
God. These fucking
Els-
rolls, I can't go over 10.
Elzen and Pebble, as you're having this conversation, you notice in the mirrors, and pretty much all of the mirrors where you can see your own reflection, uh, Pebble, you see a little gray-skinned girl whose flesh looks like it's dead, wearing a pig mask, who seems like she's right behind Pyelius, staring at him. And Elzin, you see what looks like a shadowy form about 8 feet tall that looks like it's made of shadows, and it seems to just be walking behind Pyelius.
Alzen looks behind Paelius.
You don't see anybody in behind the real Pyelius. It's only in the reflections.
So Pebble sees that.
Yes.
He screams.
What are you doing? Look.
So none of you see what they see, and they don't see what the other sees.
So I don't even see them?
No, you don't see them either.
Not in the
But
mirror.
you can make me an insight check.
Paelius,
Sure.
do you have a dark shadowy past that literally follows you around?
Oh,
Uh,
he who follows behind, like from Dresden.
you feel a cold chill run down your spine and definitely feel like you're being watched.
There is a creature behind you, and there is this tiny girl with a pig mask.
Her I've
It's
seen.
really creepy.
Yeah, there's that in a 8-foot shadowy figure.
That I have not seen. But I
Yeah,
can tell they are watching.
Pebbles still sees the pig masked girl who just appears to be staring out of the mirrors at Pielius. And Elzin, you also notice the shadowy figure appears to be focused on Pielius, almost hovering over him.
Alzin's gonna inspect the mirrors to see if he wants to see if there seems to be a way to break them. Like,
Safely.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a way to, they appear to just be mirrors. So there does appear to be a way to break them. They're very tall and very heavy glass. So there's no, if you were standing next to it and break it, there's no way to necessarily prevent shards of it from falling onto you. Now that you're deeper in the maze, the mirrors are much taller. They're about 20 feet tall. So, judging from what you've seen of them, you would have to, break them from a distance.
gotcha. Hmm.
They do appear to be sort of separate segments that are linked together. So, if you broke one, it might cause the mirrors adjacent to it to break, or it could fall in such a way that it breaks a mirror across from it. Uh, but shattering one wouldn't like shatter them all. You'd probably break a panel at a time.
Gotcha. Hmm.
I'm like, it's there because I'm not wearing those wings. I'm sure of it.
Then put them on.
I'd rather they reveal themselves.
Hmm.
Elzin, who was suspicious before that you might be ensorcelled, probably thinks you're being ensorcelled again.
Pretty much.
That's what they want you to think.
I've seen the girl once already.
Well,
I'd
both of
rather not wear the wings. I don't know what they mean, what they do. Besides, I'm a little bit of a rule breaker, okay? I will go without for as long as I possibly can.
That's weird though. Like you're gonna do something just just to be like to do the opposite, but opposites aren't always good.
Mm. Listen, there are certain things, there are certain rules that are meant to be broken, okay?
Why?
I cannot describe it. It's just a sense.
I mean,
Sometimes the rule is stupid.
but then why is it a rule?
Agreed. That's why you break it. And how,
But then what if bad things happen if you break the rule?
this is not the time to have this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know why we're having it either. You're the one that brought it up. Seems like a
You
weird
kept
time to bring something like that up.
you kept asking questions.
You said something weird.
Let's move. Hands together.
So as you finish this conversation, Elzin, you see the shadow reaches down, reaches out towards Pyelius. What's your AC? It has
Uh,
advantage because you can't see it.
my AC is a 15.
So it hit.
Okay.
And you suffer 3 strength damage and 8 necrotic damage.
Okay.
And everybody can make me another perception check. Elzin, I forgot to say, Elzin, you have advantage because you could already see its reflection.
Yeah. I had a crit before. Does that have any kind of lasting effects?
Uh, it probably should have. I didn't think about it. I'll have to say you don't have to make perception checks anymore. It can't hide from you. Pyelius, you definitely now see, all of you now see the shadow that's looming over Pyelius. That's it is about 15 feet tall, which is unusual for a shadow, but it appears to be an elongated shadow that has just gripped Pyelius by the shoulder.
Pebble immediately jumps to kick it.
So we can roll initiative.
Solid.
I didn't have a character selected. I don't know if we have a field or not.
I can just add you. So Lee, you get to go first.
I don't see the I unless I don't see the creature in the initiative order unless you intended that.
I probably have it on the wrong layer.
Well, we're still on the outside map.
Right. I don't have a map for this for the
Oh,
maze itself. So this is theater of the mind this time. You
okay.
are all in a line in a 5 foot wide corridor. Lee, you are at the front. So this is behind Pyelius, who is, last
In
in
the
the
back.
order.
Okay.
But
But
you could move through people's squares. He's only,
but I can see the
you
shadow.
can you can see it now. However, it is not especially bright in here, and you can see it is difficult to see. It is a shadowy form.
Well, isn't Lee holding a ever-burning torch?
He is, but this is not a normal shadow. It can become essentially transparent. Elzin and Pyelius, since they got crits on their prior perception checks, can definitely continue to see it, but it might be able to stealthily hide from you.
Um, thinking, well, I probably need the torch, the ever burning torch, to at least see the thing.
Right. If you don't
But
have dark vision, that's definitely true. That doesn't mean you have to hold it necessarily. You could drop it on the ground and it would still be giving off light.
okay. That one. Shit. All right, I'll rage and I'm gonna try to hit this thing with my Morning Star. Hmm, yeah, not with a 6.
So you race to the back. You are now essentially behind the creature. Actually, you probably occupy the same space as the creature if you wanted to, but you swing at it and your Morning Star seems to pass through it. You don't connect with anything. Anything else you're doing?
No, because I can't do shield bash because that's a bonus action. It took me a bonus action to rage. Uh, no, that's it.
So Pebble's turn.
Uh, so Pebble leaps up to hit it with his trident and kick it. Oh.
So that hits.
And then I'm going to use Flurry of Blows.
That hits. And that also hits.
Is
So
there anything solid as I strike it?
you feel something, it's hard to call it solid, but it does feel as though there's a little bit of resistance. And you do see the form of the creature move as you kick into it.
Hmm.
But it's a little bit like you're kicking into a solid fog.
Hmm. Okay. Because then I would probably like try to, I imagine I'm trying to leap back off of it as I was attacking in the air. And then to help give me a little bit more momentum, I do like a ray of frost to kind of kick me back.
Okay.
And that would be my turn.
Okay. Uh, at this point, the shadow goes. Wait, where did I put it? So Pyelius, give me a wisdom save.
He, I guess, because we have the same initiative. I guess he goes first.
Right. I assume these things will happen at the same time, but I still need the wisdom save.
Yeah. I gotta just click the button. There we go. Well, that's obviously no good.
I mean, you have action points.
Yeah, that's gonna be used. Use one of those, and we roll that. Wisdom, right?
Yep.
We should.
Got one more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to fuck up my stupid strength anymore. Um, yeah, I'll just use it. Come on. Oh my God. Can't roll. Fucking shit.
So you don't notice an immediate effect, but you do feel just drained and lethargic. And it's not entirely clear what has caused this, but you can see that the shadow sort of loomed over you to the point where it almost arched over you completely. And you generally feel like you're in a malaise, but that's its turn. So now you can go.
Um, So what's the all right? So what if do I have an effect on me?
I mean, no, there's no mechanical effect at this point,
Okay.
but this feeling will persist.
Um, I don't know what good I can do against a shadow.
I mean, it did
Just like
seem as though Pebble had an effect.
yeah, but Pebble defies all logic, so
That's true. Lit Often literally refuses to accept
yeah,
logic.
completely. Yeah, yeah. There's no such thing as logic around that one. Um,
Fortune favors the dumb.
I will, I guess, draw the rapier and poke at it.
That hits.
Um, yeah, I think that yeah, that has my sneak attack. Fucking horrendous rolls. What is this? Two
So
ones. Okay, it's
you do
it's-
feel some resistance as you seem to stab it in approximately where its chest would be.
Um,
It's hard, however, it's hard to say that you're really damaging it, but it does recoil from the attack so that it
okay.
is no longer hunched over top of you.
Um, and then how um how involved would it be to pull the wings off of Pebble?
It's a full action to get them off. Like they are strapped on with little cloth straps. So
Okay.
to get them off the normal way, you would have to untie all the straps, or you could cut the fabric that's holding it on. But either way, it would be an action.
Okay. Okay, fine. Then I will just cunning action disengage
You
and
can do that.
then move to the other side of the party.
So yeah, moving to the other side. I guess technically it's getting increasingly complicated because everybody's tied together.
I
But
thought we stopped that and we like were just holding hands. But
I know that Paelius was holding hands with Pebble at Pebble's insistence, but I didn't hear that everybody had actually agreed to hold hands or untied yourselves.
that's true. Well, me, Pebble, and Paelius then are definitely still tied together, I think.
Right. So,
Oh,
but Paelius will have to like let go of your hand if he wants to move to the other side of the party. I mean, Lee and Pebble had to sort of move back. Lee at least had to move back to attack this thing. So I assume you would move to the other side of Elzen,
Right.
who is still like, 10 feet away from this creature.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah. Back up and say, "You got it."
so you're on the other side now of Elzen. And it's Elzen's turn.
Elzen fires off an Eldritch Blast.
That hits it. And you see the creature. I don't know if you're doing any special effects on that. Should always ask that.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess the only special effect I have is the staggering blast, so can't take reactions.
So you're using that then.
Yeah.
So it does recoil from the Eldritch Blast, and you do all know, well, what does your Eldritch Blast look like?
Good question. It it's kind of a like a golden hue,
Mhm.
kind of like a golden ethereal, and it's got a little head of a dragon, kind of like a loose form of a dragon's head when it comes
So,
out.
so you see this sort of dragon-headed blast is fired off at the creature and does appear to be absorbed into it and stop midair as the creature recoils backward after being hit. And it's Lee's turn again.
All right. Attempt to hit it with the Morning Star and miss. And then use Shield Bash and hit that time. So 4 bludgeoning plus 2 psychic damage.
Okay.
Is it technically a magical weapon?
Is sorry, what was that?
The shield is technically a magical, it's a +1 mithril
Oh,
shield.
okay. That's fair. So the shield bash seems to, you feel it almost connect like the creature was solid
Okay.
as it appears to be pushed back even further than it was with the Eldritch Blast in response to it. But you definitely felt a physical form when you hit it with the shield.
Okay.
And it's Pebble's turn.
Pebble's gonna go back to hitting it. And then, yeah, I'll use a flurry of blows again because he doesn't want anything bad happening to Peleus.
Nice.
So the second one hit, and the third one just felt like it connected only with the air.
Okay, that's my turn.
Um, Pielis, you might as well go first this time.
How far did I run? Like
Uh,
away from the thing.
so that yeah, that is in part up to you. I assumed you ran to the far side of Elzen, so you'd be like 15 feet away from it.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna I'm gonna dart back up and poke it.
You don't think you connected with it.
Snovovich, disengage and go back.
Okay. You disengage and retreat again. The creature you see flees into the mirror itself and appears to be staring out at all of you from the other side of the surface of a mirror. And it's technically Elzen's turn.
So it retreated into one of the mirrors.
Yes.
Is it a tall mirror?
All of the mirrors that are around you now are pretty
Right.
tall. They're about
Okay.
20 feet tall.
Hmm. Uh, Elzen, he's gonna cast Sword Burst. So, oh yeah, he mutters something, and uh, this circle starts forming around him.
So this could hit the party.
Oh, I said each creature. Yeah, maybe not. He's not gonna do that. Thought that was just enemy. He's gonna hold his
Um,
action. If the specter becomes corporeal again or out of the mirror, then he will hold his action until that point.
okay. Uh, and we'll come out of rounds at that point as the creature fades out of the mirror and disappears. You still, however, at least Pebble still sees the undead little girl's face in her pig mask, still staring directly at uh, Paelius. Paelius,
The
you
little
still,
girl's still there. That
right?
weird little girl. She wearing the
Paelius,
mask.
he still feels awful.
Yeah, yeah. Let me get those wings.
Oh, oh, you want my wings? Okay. Do you want both of them or just one? I
Just
mean,
the one is
you
fine.
let me play with them for a little bit. So if you wanted to play with both wings, you could.
I only need the one.
Okay.
So
So
did
yeah,
what is Lee wearing the wings or just carrying them? I forgot to
Carrying
ask
them.
that. Yeah. Is Paelius going to wear the wings?
No.
Look, I want to be safe from these creatures, but not that much. So you are now carrying the wings. You're still technically tied together. I'm not clear if you were going to untie yourselves and try to hold hands.
There's not enough room to feasibly hold hands.
I mean, not
I mean,
side by side, but
right, you could if you were you could do you and
An
Pebble could be
elephant
side by
walk.
side, right?
Yeah.
Or you could all sort of elephant walk or crab walk your way through.
Yeah, but that's just not practical. And you're like
Since
all
when does we have to be practical?
works perfectly fine. Just don't walk too fast in case somebody goes into a mirror.
Are you still feeling the pull, this pull to stay inside this place?
I don't know what you mean. I knew that we need to be here, so
You're
we
being
are.
controlled. You are not the Peleus that I have known for a few, for however long we've known each other.
Okay, I just have to say something. There's that creepy girl that's still there, and the shadow was only in the mirror, and then it wasn't. So, I mean, she might just come out and not be in the mirror anymore.
Mhm. That is certainly true. I've seen her not in the mirror.
If you can see her, can you talk to her?
You know what? Maybe she's just trying to find a friend. Maybe she just really like pay 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 Elias.
You got there.
Um, and then so Pebble will go to the nearest image of the girl in the mirror and say,
Hi, I'm Pebble. What's your name?
She does not. The image does not respond to you. Now that you're up close, you can see like just a red glow underneath the mask through the eye holes. You can also see her teeth are jagged, almost shattered, and appear to mostly form little points where her teeth have been broken. And her flesh definitely appears to be decaying.
You don't look really good. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Hey, yeah, are you here? Can you hear me? Hello? A girl?
She,
Yeah, hey.
she seems to almost be staring through you, like she doesn't see you at all. She only sees Paelius as her gaze
Wait,
is locked. Although you could go up to any mirror and do this, you're only in front of the one. You see her reflected in every mirror where you can see Paelius's reflection.
Good point. So Pebble will try every single one, knocking and try to get her attention.
So Pebble begins to move mirror to mirror, limited only by the fact that he's still tied to people.
Let, let us keep moving.
Okay, none of them want to talk, I guess. Maybe they can't hear. Maybe she's deaf. But then, why wouldn't she look at me?
could be blind too.
Oh, that would make sense. Her teeth were really messed up. Maybe an accident?
So Lee, are you still going to be in the front?
Uh, yes, yeah, I will. I'll still be in the fire. Pick up ever burning torch and
So
proceed.
maybe another survival check.
Let's see, survival. Eh.
So who's holding whose hand or who's tied to who?
Well, Pebble was tied to Paelius. I don't know if we untied each other. But I mean, it would make sense that once there was discussion of holding hands, Pebble would have slipped out of the ropes.
I guess I have a hold of Elzen.
You're holding Elzin's hand, or you're
I
tied to
guess if we're
Elzin,
going
both.
to the holding of hands.
I mean, nobody can force you to hold hands.
Pebble may try.
And Elzin
Paelius
could
just
refuse to consent, or
Paelius
Paelius.
is sitting there looking dejected, but with a fucking penguin hand in his hand.
So is Elzin holding hands with people?
Yeah, he would be holding, he's second, so he'd be holding hands with Lee. And if Lee wanted to hold hands and Peleus.
Not true. So Elzin probably needs one hand to hold Mbop.
It's true. So he would probably be holding hands with Lee then, given that Lee is the front line.
There's probably a rope between Elzen and Pebble then.
So Lee, make me a wisdom
Yeah.
save.
Eh,
So as you're walking forward, the first thing all of you notice is the images of you in the mirrors are now you very old and very close to death. And Lee, you find, although you were holding the hand of Elzin, you now realize there is a mirror between the two of you and your hands have separated.
Okay.
And you realize you're only looking at a reflection of Elzin and you're not sure where the real one is. And Elzin, you realize that directly in front of you where Lee was, there is a mirror. You can still see his reflection, but you're not sure where the real Lee is anymore.
Lee? Lee, can you hear me?
Can I hear him?
You can hear them, yes. You can still hear each other.
Seem to have a mirror where you once were.
The same thing. I see the same.
In the reflection that Lee is seeing of Elzen, is he also seeing Pebble and Peleus behind Elzen?
Yes. I forgot. Peleus has to make a constitution check to see if your levitate is still working.
No. Okay.
Yep.
So how tall is this mirror that I'm looking at?
At this point, the mirrors are about 25 feet tall, and it looks as though the tent is just a foot or two above that.
Hmm. What do you got up there?
Actually, this is as good a place as any to stop. Your party is slightly separated. You're sure you're close to one another because you could still hear each other.
Sounds good.
And Peleus, just remember for next time that you have concentration on your levitate still going.
Right. Write that in somewhere.
And you're pretty sure that you're getting close to the center of this maze. Whether or not the center is your destination or the halfway point to another exit, different question.
No, it's at least the halfway point, you know, if we're have to
Right.
come out of a tent. But that was fun.
Well, yeah, thanks a lot, Kurt.
Yeah. I the games are pretty fun. Did you come up with all of them, or are you like kind of riffing off of like a circus?
This is mostly adapted from Wild Beyond the Witchlight,
Hmm.
as that starts off with a circus.
Makes
Oh,
sense.
does Pebble sparkle add at all to the light?
Um, we'll say if Pebble wants, Pebble can essentially glow like a candle. So 5 foot of
5
dim
feet.
light around Pebble.
Excellent.
Like a beacon in the dark for me.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for playing,
All right.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good
Thanks for
night.
running.
Bye.